At 94 years old, I can tell you this without hesitation. Real peace after 60 does not feel dramatic. It feels quiet. It feels ordinary. And for a long time, I almost missed it because I kept looking for something bigger, something louder, something that would prove I had truly arrived. But peace was never waiting for me in some grand moment. It was hiding inside the small things I stopped forcing, the people I stopped chasing, and the arguments I finally let go of. Stay with me until the very end, because the last sign on this list is the one I wish I had understood 20 years earlier. And when I finally did, I sat down and cried in the best possible way. My name is Dorothy Harmon, but most people call me Dot. I'm 94, a retired nurse from rural Kentucky, and I spent most of my life taking care of everyone except myself. I learned to be useful, to be calm, to be dependable. For years, I thought that made me strong. In some ways, it did. But it also made me tired in a way sleep never fixed. After 60, something started shifting quietly inside me. The life I had spent decades building was changing shape. Things that once felt urgent stopped mattering. Other things, the quiet things, started mattering more than I ever expected. I am going to share 8 signs that tell you you have finally found real peace after 60, and I want you to hear them not from someone with a perfect life, but from a woman who made enough mistakes to finally know what peace actually looks like up close. And sign number 1 came only after my first big confession. Sign number 1 is this: you no longer need to explain every decision you make. I used to explain everything: why I was leaving early, why I wasn't joining the group trip, why I didn't want another committee, why I was quiet, why I was tired, why I said no. I thought if I explained myself well enough, people would understand and approve. They never really did, not the way I hoped. They heard my explanations and still tried to bargain with me, still tried to change my mind, still made me feel guilty for choices that were mine to make. Then one day, sometime in my 70s, I simply stopped explaining, not in anger, not in rebellion, just in peace. And I found out something very important. The more peaceful you become, the less you owe the world a performance. Philippians 4:7 says it better than I ever could. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds. That peace doesn't need defending. It doesn't need a paragraph of justification. It just is. Comment below if you have ever felt exhausted by always having to explain yourself, because once you stop performing, you start hearing your own voice again, and that voice gets stronger than all the others around you. But that was only the beginning. The next sign took me longer to understand, and it changed the way I looked at my entire calendar. Sign number 2 is this: your calendar gets simpler, but your life gets richer. When I was younger, being busy made me feel important. I was always going somewhere, helping someone, answering to something. There was a certain pride in that pace. It made me feel needed and alive. But after 60, I began to notice that full was not the same thing as meaningful. I could spend an entire week running around for everyone else and still feel completely empty by Sunday night. Or I could sit on my back porch with a cup of coffee, watch the light move slowly across the yard, and feel more alive than I had felt in days. That is peace. Not a life without activity, a life where activity no longer runs you into the ground and robs you of yourself. I started leaving white space in my days deliberately. That white space became one of the greatest gifts aging ever gave me. It gave me room to breathe, to think, and to remember what I actually liked. But once I learned that, another truth arrived right behind it, and this one surprised me more than anything I had expected. Sign number 3 is this: you become harder to offend. And that does not mean you become cold or indifferent. It means you stop taking everything personally. I used to let little comments sit in my heart for days. If somebody looked at me the wrong way, I replayed it for hours. If a family member spoke sharply during a holiday dinner, I carried it like a stone in my pocket all the way home. But after enough years, enough grief, and enough hard moments to fill a whole church, I started seeing things more clearly. Most people speak from their own pain far more often than they speak from wisdom. Once I truly understood that, I stopped making every small thing about me. I started listening more carefully and reacting less quickly. I gave people more room to be imperfect, and for the first time in my life, I gave myself that same room too. That is a quiet kind of freedom most younger people simply do not understand yet. They think peace means being untouched by the world. It does not. It means being less easily shaken by it. And once I reached that place, something happened that felt almost like a miracle coming through my own front door. Sign number 4 is this: you stop chasing people who only stay when it is convenient for them. This one cost me the most to learn. I used to call people first. I used to keep the bridge open long after the other side had gone quiet. I used to be the one reaching out, remembering birthdays, sending cards, asking how everyone was doing. I told myself that was love. Sometimes it truly was, but sometimes it was just me trying to hold together things that had already loosened and were never going to hold again. At some point after 60, you begin to see clearly who actually wants to be in your life and who simply likes the comfort of knowing you are available. Real peace begins when you stop chasing what keeps slipping away, not because you are bitter or angry, but because you finally respect your own heart enough to stop begging for what should have been given freely. Comment below if this one hit home, because I know with certainty I am not the only woman who spent years learning this lesson the hard way. And once I stopped chasing, I discovered something I had never before allowed myself to have enough of. Stay with me for sign 5 because it completely changed the way I start every morning. Sign number 5 is this: quiet no longer feels empty. It feels honest and restoring. I used to hate stillness in my own home. If the house got too quiet, I would turn on the television, call someone, or start cleaning something that did not need cleaning. I was afraid to sit alone with myself. But now, in these later years, I can sit by my kitchen window and listen to the birds outside and feel completely content. Not distracted, not restless, not lonely, just content. Quiet became a place where my thoughts could finally settle without being interrupted. It became the place where I could pray without rushing, remember without hurting quite as much, and simply exist without feeling guilty for it. I think of Psalm 46:10 often in those mornings. Be still and know that I am God. There is a particular kind of peace in that stillness that no amount of noise or busyness can manufacture. You have to stop running long enough to feel it, and when you do, it changes you from the inside in ways you cannot fully explain to someone who has not yet been still enough to find it. That is a sign that peace has found you. And the sixth sign is the one that took me the longest to accept because it required admitting something uncomfortable about myself. Sign number 6 is this: your opinions get softer, but your boundaries get stronger. This pairing matters more than most people realize. When I was younger, I had strong opinions about almost everything: how people should raise their children, how families should spend their money, how the house should look, and how the table should be set for Sunday dinner. Age has a beautiful and humbling way of loosening all of that. I realized that most of the things I once felt certain about did not deserve the energy I gave them. But while my opinions softened considerably, my personal boundaries became firm in a way they never were before. I no longer allowed chaos, manipulation, drama, or constant emotional demands to have a seat at my table. Peace after 60 is not about becoming passive or invisible. It is about becoming selective with extraordinary precision. You stop trying to control everyone around you, and you start protecting your own mind and your own time. A soft heart with a firm boundary is one of the most beautiful and powerful things a woman can become. But there was still one more sign quietly working its way into my life, and it is the one that confirmed peace had finally taken real root in me. Sign number 7 is this: you stop measuring your life by what you still have left to prove. I spent decades feeling like I had to earn my place in every room I entered. I had to be useful. I had to be needed. I had to be the one who always showed up, always knew the right thing to say, always kept it together when everyone else was falling apart. That was my identity for most of my adult life. Then one quiet afternoon, something shifted inside me, and I understood it with total clarity. Peace does not come from proving your value. It comes from simply remembering it. I do not need to impress anyone anymore. I do not need to justify my age, my slower pace, or the fact that I no longer volunteer for everything that is asked of me. I do not need to compete with the woman I was at 50. I am allowed to simply be here, right now, as I am. That is enough. That has always been enough. If you have reached a place where you no longer need to prove your worth every single day, then you are already walking in peace, whether you call it that or not. And that brings me to the last sign, the one that sounds the simplest, but took me the longest to truly feel. Sign number 8 is this: you are genuinely grateful for ordinary days. Not the grand ones, not the milestone ones with photographs and applause and long speeches, the ordinary ones. The cup of coffee before the house wakes up, the folded blanket on the armchair, the afternoon light coming through the curtains, The phone call from someone who just wanted to hear your voice. The clean sheet on a tired night. The quiet breakfast with no agenda and nowhere urgent to be. When ordinary days become the ones you are most grateful for, something profound has shifted. You have stopped expecting life to entertain you and started letting it nourish you instead. That is real peace. Not fireworks, not constant excitement, just enough. Just enough love, just enough quiet, just enough purpose to make a day feel full and worth remembering. And the words of Lamentations 3:22 and 23 have stayed with me in those ordinary mornings more than any other. Because of the Lord's great love we are not consumed, for His compassions never fail. They are new every morning. New every morning. Not just the big mornings, not just the mornings with something spectacular waiting. Every ordinary morning. That is a gift I almost missed for decades because I was too busy running. This is Dorothy Harmon, Dot if you like, signing off from a quiet Wednesday morning in Kentucky. Peace after 60 is not found in perfection. It is found in release, in fewer explanations, in softer opinions and stronger boundaries, in quiet that no longer frightens you, in ordinary days that feel like enough. If something here today found its way into you, tell me in the comments which sign felt most true for your own life right now. Share this with a woman over 60 who is still trying too hard to be everything for everyone. And subscribe, because next time I want to sit with you and talk about the 7 habits that quietly make the people around you feel safe. And that one, I think, may matter even more than peace itself. God bless your ordinary mornings, every single one of them.